Not only is she beautiful and extremely talented, she's my little sister.
There's complicated sibling relationships. And then there's Britney and Jamie Lynn Spears. We know, there's been so much talk about Britney and her conservatorship. Not to mention how much family dynamics have changed since the whole thing started. We've seen waves of support from Britney fans, but public support from her own family has been few and far between. And that makes sense for those who have benefited from Britney being in her conservatorship, but not for people like Jamie Lynn, who's been the least involved in the entire ordeal.
It was time for me to say, what are you gonna do?
Jamie Lynn and Britney's relationship has been interesting of late. In the past few months, we've seen some posts that have really put into question the bond these two siblings have. Don't worry, we'll get more into that later. If you've been following Britney's journey with the conservatorship, it's pretty clear why she felt how she felt about her family. But it's interesting to see everything that's transpired between the two of them recently, especially because Jamie Lynn and Britney used to be the best of friends. I mean, no sibling relationship is perfect, and it's normal for siblings to argue for literally any reason. But in the earlier days of Britney and Jamie Lynn's careers, they were both very open about how much they loved each other. For those who may not know, the two have actually worked together in the past. They both starred in the 2002 film Crossroads, where Jamie Lynn played the younger version of Britney's character, Lucy. It was then that Jamie Lynn started getting used to the spotlight, and Britney played a big part in her transition to fame. In fact, in a 2020 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, the Sweet Magnolias star credited her older sister for being a positive influence on her as a child, getting used to stardom. She stated in her interview, "Having Britney as an example was crucial for me. Not only did my sister build me up, but she made me feel like I was the star when she was clearly the star." The feeling was mutual for Britney too. Shortly after Crossroads was released, Britney told Real Access, "I love my little sister and I'm overprotective with her, and I don't mind saying that. I think she'll probably be able to handle the whole thing. Honestly, better than me. If anything, I'm going to be trying to get advice from her." While Britney was pursuing music, Jamie Lynn went on to continue her acting career.
Be taken as a serious actress before I ever move on to doing singing.
So she wouldn't be operating in her sister's shadow. Taking her own advice, she went on to join season 8 of Nickelodeon's All That and later scored the starring role in her own show on the network, Zoe 101. And I'm not even going to lie, I was totally here for it. Most cringy 12 to 15-year-olds were. When Jamie Lynn was 16, around the same time Britney was placed under the conservatorship, she announced that she was having a baby. She later traded in the glitz and glam of Hollywood and moved back to Mississippi to focus on her family and her music. And while not much was said about the relationship between her and Britney since then, the two have appeared to have held on to their relationship.
Tell them the way I feel. It's like they hear me, but they really not listening.
It's been over a decade since the whole conservatorship ordeal unfolded, and everyone has had something to say about it. While her family has had relatively sparse comments to share about it, Jamie Lynn's comments have been crickets. Granted, when Britney's conservatorship started, Jamie Lynn was still getting used to being a new mother, transitioning into a new life and career, and was like 17 years old. And that's understandable, at first. But like we just mentioned, it's been over a decade, and Britney's fans have been keeping an eye on the support from her, or lack thereof. Though they're few and far in between, Jamie Lynn has posted a few photos with Britney, and she spoke of her older sister in high regard. But the fact that she's had a public platform and didn't use it to speak about her sister's conservatorship or the suffering Britney experienced because of it seemed very off to a lot of fans. Britney fans were already skeptical when Jamie Lynn was secretly named trustee of her multi-million-dollar assets. According to Vanity Fair, legal documents obtained by The Blast revealed that Jamie Lynn herself requested that blocked accounts be created to hold her sister's assets. It was assumed that her role in this would be to make sure that if anything were to happen to Britney, her assets would be transferred to her SJB revocable trust and given to her children. Something about Jamie Lynn being involved in the conservatorship at that point, without having mentioned anything about it previously or showing public support for her sister, didn't sit right with Britney's fans. Maybe Jamie Lynn just wanted to live her own life and focus on her music, her family, and getting back into her acting career. Fine, I guess, but then why get involved in the conservatorship at all? It wasn't until Britney's bombshell testimony during her virtual court appearance that we heard anything from Jamie Lynn about her sister's conservatorship. In a series of videos posted to her Instagram stories, she talked about how much she cared for her sister long before there was a hashtag.
Since the day I was born, I've only loved, adored, and supported my sister.
I don't care if she wants to run away to a rainforest and have a zillion babies in the middle of nowhere, or if she wants to come back and dominate the world the way she's done so many times before, because I have nothing to gain or lose either way. It goes without saying that fans weren't convinced, especially after a Britney fan account posted court documents showing that Britney paid for multiple flights Jamie Lynn took to Hollywood. The fan account is currently suspended, so it's possible that the validity of those documents may be up in the air, but the damage was already done. However, drama over Jamie Lynn claiming not to make money from Britney while staying in a Florida condo that Britney's money paid for raised some eyebrows as well.
I look back now and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Fans who were already side-eyeing Jamie Lynn before had an even bigger reason to do so now. In Britney's June 2021 testimony, she told the court, "I would honestly like to sue my family, to be totally honest with you. I would also like to be able to share my story with the world and what they did to me. I'm told I'm not allowed to expose the people who did this to me." While Britney made a lot of claims during her emotional statement, none of those claims went along the lines of, "But my sister has always been there for me." If Jamie Lynn talked so much about how supportive she was when her sister needed her, why doesn't her own sister agree? And yes, the whole thing could be a she said argument. But with no proof of Jamie Lynn's actual support for Britney, how can fans corroborate Jamie Lynn's story? To Jamie Lynn, it may look like she was supportive in spirit, but just didn't want to say anything publicly until Britney spoke for herself. But to Britney and the rest of her fans, it looked like someone jumping on Instagram stories to save face. But in July of this year, Britney laid everything out on the table. She posted a photo to her Instagram with a message reading, "Take me as I am," followed by a few sentences we won't say here on this channel. In the caption, she seemingly addressed her sister, stating, "I don't like that my sister showed up at an award show and performed my songs to remixes. My so-called support system hurt me deeply." Similar posts to this one have since been deleted, but Britney publicly made it abundantly clear how she feels about her family and their actions. And Jamie Lynn wasn't off the hook just because they're sisters. Jamie Lynn responded with a photo of herself, and while the original caption has been replaced with emojis, the OG caption read, "May the peace of the Lord be with you and your spirit." It's hard to pinpoint exactly when their previously heartwarming relationship turned sour. Fans have speculated that it's probably safe to assume Jamie Lynn may have wanted to reach the level of fame that Britney did, but couldn't achieve it. Or maybe their parents were more focused on Britney's career instead of hers. But seeing as how Jamie Lynn has had her own career for quite some time now, and has shouted out her mother on multiple occasions, it's hard to say. But fans don't think any of that excuses her lack of support for her sister. As of right now, no one knows what's next for the two of them. We could see Britney's decision to delete her other IG posts about her family as a possible sign that maybe things are cooling down between them, but only time will tell. We've seen so much change in the conservatorship since Britney's been able to start taking her life back. How do you think their relationship will play out? Can they rebuild the strong sisterhood they had before? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to The Thing Celebrity for more videos just like this one.